Here.
We're back.
It's just the B.A. podcast today.
Badass.
Yeah. It's the Brad and Austin podcast today. We're missing the D. Roll the intro.
Welcome to the B.A.D podcast with Derek, Brad, and Austin, where we talk about random shit, and that's it.
Okay, let's go.
I feel like we're missing Derek's okay, let's go at the end of it. I was like waiting for it.
That's honestly the best intro ever. It gets me so hyped.
Yeah. Still think it's funny that Tyler sent me that clip. I was like, oh my gosh, you see this? It's like they stole. I should have been like, he stole our intro.
Yeah. We made this. What do you mean?
Yeah.
That's funny. How was your Christmas?
Yeah. So Christmas is a lot more fun with a kid.
Yeah.
When people talk about Christmas magic, I think they really are saying, I have great parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that not a lot of, there's some kids that don't get that Christmas magic. And I think it's it just comes down to your parents. And I don't mean that, but I take that back. I don't mean not great parents, because financial situations can put parents at a disadvantage to create that magic. But I meant
that's what you mean is your financial situation. And
you had a good childhood.
Yes.
Those are air quotes because people can't necessarily see it on podcasts, but quote unquote good childhood.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw recently, Najee Harris didn't get a Christmas tree.
Interesting.
And one of his teammates, I don't remember who it was, went and bought a Christmas tree and set it up at his house.
Wow.
And the comments on there were like, oh wow, I love when a millionaire helps out another millionaire, right? But it was really more about I don't know if this is true because some people said it and I just didn't have time to research it, but Najee Harris maybe didn't have the greatest upbringing.
Oh, so I'm pretty sure he lived on the floor of Alabama facilities when he was going to school there.
Okay.
He couldn't afford to stay in dorms or something like that. There was a story that came out where it was he was not in the best financial situation.
Well, that doesn't make sense. Wouldn't he be on a full ride scholarship that would pay for housing?
I don't know.
Anyway, so but they essentially said that that's where I read that thing about a lot of people don't get that Christmas magic and don't get that Christmas feeling, so they don't know what it's like, and then when they're an adult, they don't know what to do to kind of create that, and so it was a lot of people made fun of it and it's like, oh, a millionaire, helping a millionaire out, but really, I mean, it is I think there's so much more than money. There's mental health, and a lot of these guys came from situations where, they struggled and now they're doing well for themselves and, they made something, I guess, of themselves, got out of wherever they were. But they didn't have those parents to create those memories and stuff for them. So
yeah, it's giving back gives them joy and they like to see people's faces light up. That's kind of the joy that they receive.
Right. And I think that's the Christmas joy that you get when you have a kid, is that you get to experience their face lighting up and seeing Letty crawl down the hallway, which you probably have seen it because we set up the camera so that I could record her on my phone, but also could just have a candid shot going of it all. And it's just, it's really cute to see them get really excited when they see stuff. And she actually opened presents every day, one present, because she wasn't able to, open up all of her presents at once. She just doesn't have the attention span to do that. So,
yeah. And I feel her age and then even a couple years down the road, maybe 2 or 3, that's a tough age to be what's going on, what it actually means. I don't know, what do you think year-wise is the moment where it's this is Christmas, here was what it is?
I think probably 3 or 4. Cause I don't feel you probably wrap your mind around it. I feel 3 or 4 you understand birthdays. Your birthday. People are hey, your birthday's coming up. And you talk about birthdays and planning your birthday party. And so you kind of understand that there's, maybe you don't understand time, it's a year, that goes by, but you understand there's something special about this date. And it's probably I don't know, I'd say 3 or 4. It just depends. Some kids get stuff earlier than others.
Yeah.
So what we've learned is kids that are really great, usually motor skill wise, like Letty is, are probably going to be late talkers.
Okay.
And then kids that are, maybe
late on the other side.
Are usually early talkers, or some are late on both. Some are early on both, but in general, that's just a general thing.
The way the trend goes.
Yeah. So now that Christmas is behind us, I know a common thing is just New Year's resolutions. Do you make New Year's resolutions?
Last year I did. This year I have not yet. I've still got some time.
Yeah.
I got a couple days.
Yeah, Aubrey and I, we used to not really like make resolutions. And then I want to say in 2018, like 2017 going into 2018, we sat down and we did a YouTube video talking about our New Year's resolutions. And I kind of like half jokingly said, oh, I want to quit our jobs this year.
Yeah.
And then we did. And so I don't know. There's a weird, like I used to make fun of vision boards and
Like manifesting.
Yeah,
and stuff
manifesting
like
and
that.
stuff like that. But like now I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it. 'Cause it almost gives you something like if you have a vision board, like when you're feeling unmotivated or you're just like feeling like I just don't want to do this right now, you look up at your vision board and you're like, I need to do this if I want to like realize my visions. And I just, truthfully, the mind is a powerful thing. You've heard of stories of people, doing a lot of things with their mind, David Goggins running those like 100 miles to qualify for something. He'd never run it before. And like his shins were broken, and he was just like, I told my mind, like, I can't stop. Like I need to keep going. And it's crazy that I think a lot of people quit before they're really done. They mentally quit. I see that even in working out. Like, a lot of times people have another rep, but they mentally quit. They're like, oh, I can't do it, so I'm just going to stop. Or they don't even try, And so I think that's another thing too, is that a lot of people think they're giving 100% and they're giving like 80%.
Yeah.
And it's not like saying that in a negative way. They just don't even realize that they have another 20% to give. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of people with that is like they see an end goal and they want that now. And when they don't have that now, they're willing to give up that end goal because they want that now. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. So the Atomic Habits book that I've been reading, which I highly recommend if anyone likes those like self-help, self-improvement books. This one's on habits, but he talks about like we live in a world of instant gratification. So in order to create habits, you need to create instant gratification for like the habits that you're trying to form. I listen to Audible books sometimes while I work out, so I don't necessarily collect it all, but then I'll listen to it a couple times. So then I kind of understand everything. But he was just like describing in there, like if you want to create a habit of saving per se, what you can do is find something that you're willing to give up. And so say it's like Starbucks. So instead of like arbitrarily being like, oh, I'm just going to, like I really want this jacket, and I'm not going to buy it. So what you do is that like he literally said, create a second bank account. And every time instead of buying a Starbucks, you put money in that bank account and then you buy the jacket once the money is there. Yeah. And it's almost like, yes, you had to sacrifice your morning Starbucks, but you're seeing daily you're
seeing the reward
daily.
Yes.
Right. And so that's kind of what he said is you need to set things up. And he said like if you're rewarded, if you're trying to do fitness, then you probably shouldn't reward yourself with like junk food or like some people are like, I'm going to eat healthy for a week and then reward myself with a cheat day. It can be very counterintuitive to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe instead it's like I'm going to eat healthy for a week and then reward myself with a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
Instead of like this all or nothing mentality.
Or that meal. It's like, you've eaten good all day and then, you get home from work and you're like, shit, I don't have dinner. Like, and you're like, all right, good all day. Like some chickens, why not?
Right. And you don't realize that you're really just ruining all that progress.
Yeah.
And sometimes even doing worse by doing that. But yeah, definitely recommend Atomic Habits. Kate said she's reading it as well. Really, really great book. It changed my mindset on a lot of things. It just really talks about like how you get into habits, good and bad, and how to break your bad habits. And for example, there's one guy who said, I stay on my computer too late at night. So he literally set a timer, like an electronic timer in the outlet that will shut off his internet at a certain time at night.
Interesting.
And that way he's forced to get off his computer. And then eventually you get to the point where it's going to happen. So you just start shutting everything down earlier until now like I'm done on my computer at 8 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night or whatever it is. And so, a lot of it is about, which kind of comes into like Rob Bailey's mentorship program that I was a part of for a month. I kind of wanted to get an idea from that. Cause honestly, one of my New Year's resolutions is to do some kind of mentorship. I've talked to you about that.
Whether small scale, large scale, anything.
I think that I find passion in helping other people like realize their potential, if you will. And so I think that one of my New Year's resolutions is to create some kind of mentorship program. I know that a lot of people like to ask me advice, especially in business wise and things like that, or growing social medias. And I'm better at telling people how to do it than do it myself sometimes. But yeah, that's like one of my resolutions. So mentorship is something that I really want to get into like I said, it's really like helping other people. So
Yeah, that's awesome. What would you say is like, have you finished the Atomic Habits?
not yet. I think I have like an hour and a half left. It's like a 5.5 hour book. So I'm like 75% of the way through. But like I said, some of it was listened to at the gym. So I definitely need to like listen through again. The hard part for me is like, I find that when I have like downtime, I don't really want to read, you know, and I don't have a commute anymore. Like I would used to listen to podcasts like all the time. I actually used to listen to like the Harvard Business podcast every morning to work because it was 20 minutes and they have like 20-minute little podcasts. So I could listen to like one on the way to work and then one on the way home. Or like I could listen to a 40-minute podcast split up between my drives, or, you know, sometimes at work I would be doing things on like Excel. So I didn't have to necessarily, I could listen to podcasts while I was working. Now I feel like, you know, there's usually things going on at work, whether I'm in like a meeting that requires my attention or I'm like moving around. So I can't like listen to a podcast. So I listen to them while I work out. And then at night, you obviously can't listen to a podcast while you're playing computer games or something. So,
or watching TV or something.
Yeah. So I definitely want to do better about that. I know like 75 Hard, like you were required to read 10 pages a day as part of that. I just think the 75 Hard is too much. It's like, like 2 workouts a day.
Yeah.
You know, which one of the workouts can be just like walking outside and things like that. But, you know, step goals, like progress to me.
It's like a lifestyle change almost.
Yeah. And I know what they're trying to create healthy habits. But what I've found is like when you go too extreme one direction, you can go really extreme in the other direction.
Like we talked about earlier.
Yeah. It's kind of like I said, if I told you, hey, you can't eat any pizza at all for 75 days. At the end of the 75 days, you're probably going to eat like a whole pizza by yourself. And really, to be honest with you, in a 2-month period, I probably eat pizza once or twice and have like 4 slices.
Yeah.
So now at the end of 75 days, I'm going to eat like 8 to 12 slices of pizza. So net worse for me in the end.
You just made it worse by saying you can't do this.
Right. So, but like I said, I think that 75 Hard teaches people some good, teaches people discipline, that if they're willing to stick to something, they can do it. I just think that it's a little bit too rigid.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I would say one of my goals for the new year is like you said, kind of just like read more or listen to more books about, you know, like educational stuff, developing yourself, and just trying to find not like new passions, but like stuff to keep you going, keep you driven, and all of that stuff.
Yeah. I feel like we talked about before, your mind is very powerful, but you have to feed your mind just like you feed it. Like if I can go to the gym every day to keep my body healthy, then I should.
Why can't you do that with your mind?
Yeah.
So,
and that's kind of why I feel like I've neglected my mind. Even just like basic stuff like math. Like I used to be just like really on point with like basic math stuff. Like people would yell out math problems and I could just like do them really quick. And I feel like I just haven't used that skill in a while. So like my mind's kind of like cataloged it further back. So I just want to get like mentally sharper again. Whether I do like a random math puzzle every week or something like that, I'll have to think about like what I really want to do, because I hate overcommitting, because when you overcommit to something, when you don't do it for one day,
or you
just
do too
quit.
much and you burn out and you're like,
Atomic Habits actually talks about that. It actually talks about like the fact of, if you were, say you had $100 and you were to get a 50% return on your money.
Okay.
Now you have $150, which is a big deal. But if you get a 50% loss on your money,
you have $50
on the 150.
Oh, 175.
Now you have 75. Yep. So what they said is, if you think about that, if you quit, what they're trying to get at is like, if you miss one day, don't keep going. And if you're having a bad day and you don't want to do something, still go, even if you're just going through the motions, because it's better to almost get like a net zero return. Like if you're $100 and you're like, oh, it's a terrible day, I'm okay with just losing $50, or I have $150, I'm be okay losing $75. Or can you go through the motions and at least break even? Right. So when it comes to the gym, you're like, I'm tired. I, had a long day at work. There, yeah. I'm probably going to have to like get fast food after the gym. Well, in my mind, it's like, go to the gym, just do something. And then make a healthy option on your fast food, because there is like healthy. I understand it's maybe not as good as like grilling chicken at home and putting it on a salad or whatever it is. But you can find healthier options, and at least try to break even for the day rather than taking a loss.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the Atomic Habits book kind of taught me, is that, when you don't feel like doing something, at least give some kind of effort, because giving zero effort, you're getting nothing. But at least you can kind of break even. So, but yeah. So I highly recommend that book. It's
Yeah,
probably one of
no.
my favorite books. That one and Extreme Ownership, which is by Jocko Willings. He's a Navy SEAL.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it does sound like a good book, and it sounds like, it's meant for kind of everybody, because like no matter how perfect you think you are, everybody has a bad habit. Everybody has habits that they think are good, that are bad, that are leading you down a hole. And
the best part to me is it actually taught you how to like set habits. And I actually used something in there. So
Okay.
there's something called habit stacking. Okay. And so whenever you want to create say something you want to do. And for me, it's easier if I just give you the example. I want to floss every day.
Correct.
I don't floss at all.
Yeah.
Ever.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally I'd go to the dentist. They'd be like, your teeth are great, but you probably should floss more. And I'm like, well, I don't floss at all. And they're like, okay, well, you should floss.
That's a problem.
And a lot of times they only knew that when they were flossing me and my gums would start to bleed.
Exactly.
Which is like, it's almost like you're building up calluses on your gums. So I don't really understand it.
It's like, when are you ever going to tell your dentist, oh, I don't floss,
Yeah, it's only when they know I don't floss, because they go to floss me and my mouth is bleeding afterwards.
They just touch it and it just instant.
Which I don't know. Do you floss regularly?
I do, not every day, but like
If you've
regularly.
been a while without flossing and you floss and it kind of hurts,
Yeah.
and your mouth may like a couple of gums may bleed in areas, you know. So, anyways, I was like, I need to floss regularly. And in Atomic Habits, what they said is find a habit you're already doing. And for me, like you brush your teeth every night before bed. You know you're going to, right? So I started putting those floss picks beside my toothbrush.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I'm like, oh, it's convenient. It's right here. I finished brushing my teeth.
It's a visual reminder when you look at it and you're like, my floss stick. It's like, I need to floss.
Right. And so it's a, which I don't know if there's some order. You probably should floss then brush your teeth because you're removing it.
Said, yeah.
However, at least I'm flossing, right? And so I brush my teeth, I floss, then I mouthwash. So I don't know. It's probably fine however I do it. Honestly, it's better than not flossing. So, but that's how I've created a habit now. And it's been probably like 3 weeks and I've flossed every day. I think I missed one day and it was because like I literally like completely just forgot. I don't even know if I brushed my teeth that night, to be honest with you. Like I was just so tired, I just like went to bed. No, I think I forgot everything.
Okay.
I think I just literally went to bed.
Last
but
night?
anyways, well, no, it wasn't last night, but it was another night. I was just so tired, I just like went to bed. But in general, what I'm saying is like I've now picked up this habit of flossing regularly. And, he talked about like maybe your habit is...
maybe you can't take your vitamins. And so for you to be able to take your vitamins, if you store them in a cabinet, and if you drink coffee every morning, put your vitamins by your coffee machine.
Yeah, that's what he said. Like, also he talked about, is your coffee habit a good habit or a bad habit? Because what happens, he said, for example, is...
Don't drink coffee.
You wake up one morning and you're tired. So then you drink coffee.
Correct.
And then you have energy. So all of a sudden you've created this habit of, I wake up in the morning and I'm tired, so I drink coffee.
That's Derek.
Oh. And so he said, like, sometimes you'll create this habit of, I wake up in the morning, so I drink coffee. You're not tired anymore, but you've made it a regular occurring thing. So now you must drink coffee whenever you wake up.
Or if you go to the gym and you have like the best workout of your life and you do like one, like you said, like you create a mixture of something, you're going to drink that every day because you had that one great workout that one time.
Right. Yeah. And so that's what he talks about, is like looking at the habits that you already have and then trying to say, are they really good habits, or have I created a habit that was based off of like, something else? So for me, I used to drink energy drinks pretty much like every day, got into a habit of it. And then I realized like, I don't need that, or pre-workout. Yeah. Like I don't need the caffeine. So I stopped. And now when I do need caffeine because I'm tired, it makes a larger impact on my life. So, I found that to be beneficial as well, just auditing the current habits you have. So I guess for me, my New Year's resolutions, I want to like look through habits that I've formed right now and assess whether they're good or bad. And then look at habits that I don't have that I'd like to like create.
Yeah.
So
just kind of seamlessly add to your life that, you're, like you said, you're doing one thing and you can seamlessly add that other very easily without, going out of your way or altering something significantly. Yeah.
So to recap, I guess, habit wise is I want to create some kind of mentorship program, and then I want to audit habits that I have right now and find out whether they're good or bad, and then kind of add in more good ones and try to remove some of the bad ones. Mm-hmm. So
do you have any like family goals and stuff for this year? Like anything that you've thought about, like
as far as like maybe spending more time with family?
Or just like, like I know you want to take more trips and stuff, or like you want to do this for Letty, she's going to be a year in March. I don't know if like you were like, I want to do this year with her. Like,
Well, Aubrey and I have a goal, which we've like briefly talked about. So we need to really talk about like how we're going to implement it. Because I think that, what I learned from Rob's mentorship group is like you need to be very clear on what your goals are. Because if you're not clear on your goals, it's like you're not clear on your destination, then you need to you just got to be clear on those, or else you're not going to know how to get there, I guess is the right word for it. So for me, we have a goal to maybe like not work on Fridays, but we need to figure out like what that looks like so that we can, figure out how to implement that. But that's a goal that Aubrey and I have, is like to essentially work Monday through Thursday so that we can spend Friday, with Letty and us and doing more stuff like together.
Yeah. And so I guess for the people who don't know what that looks like is like adding more to your plate Monday through Thursday. It's not like you're going to omit Friday completely. You're going to push all your stuff to Friday to the beginning of the week.
Or pushing stuff off of our plate if it doesn't really need to be on our plate.
Yes.
And I think that's really what it's going to be, is like, what can we remove from our plate to give to other people, or what are things that we're doing that don't even need to be done necessarily, so that we can, work on those things. Mm-hmm. So that's like one of the ones that Aubrey and I have talked about. So do you have any goals for you?
So like business wise for me, I have just like that little media company and I want to kind of grow that. I technically have an employee.
Right. I also, I sent that email to that person. So I sent your email. I don't know if they've emailed you yet.
I looked this morning. They haven't.
But they just replied to me today and they said thank you. So
we'll see.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I want to get into like the smaller businesses, I think, and kind of offer like that social media basic package. Selena's already doing that with her work and she's doing a really good job. And then one of her family friends wants us to do that as well for her law firm that's local. So if we can get 2 or 3 more,
yeah, just side income,
just like little gigs, posting on Facebook, posting on Instagram if they want Instagram, doing ads.
So from a New Year's resolution standpoint, do you want to set up a monetary goal, or do you want to set up a like amount of people that you're working with goal? Like, what do you think?
I think amount of people. Okay. So I kind of wrote down goals and I wanted to add 1 or 2 more businesses to work for. And I mean, we technically have one with her clinic,
right? And
then this other lady. So we're kind of already almost there and it's not even the year yet. So, but I'm going to add to it.
Okay. So I have a question. This is a good one. What do you do if you reach a goal early? So like, say you're like, my 2022 goals is that I want to have 4 clients that I'm like regularly, working with my media company. What happens when, April comes around and like, maybe they've signed through the whole year, or you like have consistently had these like 3 or 4 clients. Like, what do you do?
It's really rewarding when you hit your goal. So I think that is a good feeling. And then, recognize that goal. Like if you want to recognize it and be like, okay, let's go out, let's celebrate. But like at the same time is like, why stop there?
So you create another goal then?
Yeah. I would be like, okay, we have 4. What's one more going to hurt?
Yeah.
Get 1 more. What's one more going to hurt? What's one more going to hurt? And then it's going to be like, okay, this is a lot. Let's hire on somebody else.
Yeah.
And you just,
so I've actually heard of a method where you create a reach goal, which is like, this is like what I like really want to try to get to. And then you set like, it's not like some people can consider it like a fallback type situation, and I don't, but it's more like, this is like a goal that I'm trying to attain, but this is my reach goal. Like I'm really like, I'm not going to be upset if I don't meet this goal because it's almost unrealistic. Mm-hmm. However, if I reach my other goal, I still have my reach goal to go for. So like for you, you'd be like, I want 12 clients.
Yeah.
And you might be like, that's
a lot.
It's almost unrealistic because I would not only have to get 12 clients, but I'd also probably have to bring on at least 1 more employee. Mm-hmm. And like that's a lot for me this year. So my main goal is 4, but my reach goal is 12.
Yeah. So you're like 4 to 12.
Right.
It's like grading scale. It's like D is passing, but A is there's people who try and there's people who don't, and they're like, hey, I passed.
Right. And I think the problem with setting a goal 4 is sometimes you're like comfortable, and then you're like, oh, I got my 4 and I'll wait until next year and then I'll try to get and then I'll go to 8 and then I'll go for 12, when you maybe could have gotten 12 that year if you had that reach goal. So, for us, it might be like, look like, not that it's a goal, but like we want to open up one fat and weird location. And then for me, I might be like, okay, my reach goal is I want to actually create the whole franchise package and have 4 franchises in the works. Not necessarily open, but people that have either paid or are like actively working towards creating a fat and weird franchise. And so that way you're like, okay,
that's a realistic goal, I think.
yeah. But I mean, it should sound like the stars almost have to align for you to get there. And that's what the reach goals are like. And not that, it's a negative thing to, have these lofty goals, because I think that they do push you to like try to, if you aim for your reach goal, you'll never be sad if you just hit your other goal because you knew your reach goal was a stretch. But if you hit your reach goal, then you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So.
I listened to something that might have been last year or the year prior, but it was like this guy explaining on kind of like why he doesn't do yearly goals. He does monthly goals, and it's kind of like just a self-check, and they're just shorter, and you can keep yourself in check more because, like, let's say you set a goal at the beginning of the year, 2 to 3 months in, if you forget about it, or you're just kind of like, whatever, I'm not even close to hitting this. You have 9 months left. But if you do like monthly goals, you can keep that same goal for the month if you don't hit it. And it just kind of like keeps reminding you, I guess.
Yeah, but I can see how
that.
there's could be, I can see the pros and cons of that. I could see the complacency of like, oh, I didn't hit my goal again. Oh, it's fine. It'll just be my goal this month.
Yeah.
Or, oh, well, I've got next month to try. So I could see 2 mindsets for that. And I could see another one that like, I want my goal to change every month, so I need to hit this goal, so I have a new goal to go for. Also, it's really hard for me with months because like there's ebbs and flows, especially with what business you're in. Like you may find, oh, I want to have these clients, and like summertime, you may be like, you may have 10, 12 people that you're helping because one, money's coming in because, we live in a place where there's tourism, and then all of a sudden like
it drops off,
comes off like October, you lose all your clients or you lose half of them. And so then, that could look like a failure, but if your goal was 4 clients through the year, you did way more than that. You had 12 at one point, but it's the ebbs and flows of the business, So, maybe your year would have to start and begin in May or, June or July. But another goal that I have, speaking of tourism, is to do more with Airbnbs. Actually, Friday, I'm going to look at the duplex with Tyler.
And where's that at?
It's on the beach. It's not on the water, but it's on the beach. It's over. I don't know
if
you know.
Nova?
He has 2 duplexes near Nova. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so this is another one over there.
Over there by there?
I think it's on the other side of Thomas Drive though.
Okay. Across the street.
Yeah, across the street.
Okay.
So, my goal, I guess I said 3 to 4 million in Airbnb properties. That's obviously not money out of my pocket because you don't even need to put 20% down. You can put 10% down. So
you can
investing 300,000 to 400,000 or 600,000 to 800,000 total this year in Airbnb properties is my goal. So I guess my low end would be 3 million and my upper end would be 4 million. So like my reach goal would be 4 million and my regular goal would be 3 million worth of Airbnb properties.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to try to set up.
This is the place to do it.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the highest places. Surprisingly,
it should be
Tampa.
the highest.
No. Nashville is actually really high because of the year round.
They have like the best weather year round.
They have good weather year round, and people do bachelorette parties there. Yeah.
I mean, people come here for that too.
I know, but it's not year round as much.
That's true. It's mostly the summer.
It's seasonal. It's very seasonal here, and that's what kills it. So Miami also is like a year-round destination. The Keys are a year-round destination.
Would you say that it would be like a goal for you to have an Airbnb in a different city?
I think that would be like a 2023 goal. I need to get Airbnbs down close to me,
correct,
and really make sure I know what I'm doing. Get all the kinks worked out, because once you start getting to other states, like you run into issues like, hey, the AC went out, and I can't just like drive down there or like call up people I know to go work on it. I've got to like
somehow,
we either work with an agency and then they're taking a percentage, or figure it out that way. So, I don't know. That's kind of where we're at with that. It's just I feel like learn it in your backyard and then worry about it other places. So, but yeah, that's a goal for me is to try to get more into, property side of things. 90% of millionaires are from real estate.
Yeah.
So
makes sense. It's definitely the biggest, I think, cash flow.
Yeah. And
everybody brags about it and shows off on TikTok about it. So like, you know that it's a moneymaker.
yeah, I will say that I feel like TikTok and social media in general has just made people more aware of like
Correct.
it and how easy it can be. I bet you there are people on TikTok that are millionaires, not from real estate, but from selling guides on how they collected, which they may be millionaires from real estate too, but I'm saying is they've created another huge source of income.
Kind of like a
walking
mentor
people.
program.
Yeah.
Like a guide, like
Half these people I see on TikTok, they're like, download my guide, download this, do this, you know?
how to buy a house in 2022.
Yeah. And they, which, you know, at the end of the day, I'm always coming from the school of like hard knocks. Like I like to figure it out on my own. If someone tells you, they can't tell you every situation that you're going to get into. The best thing to do is just like get your hands dirty, you know? But there's like cookie companies. People have asked me about starting food companies and this or that. And I'm like, I can tell you how I did it, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have the same, you know, I was fortunate I had my parents' warehouse. You know, a lot of things lined up to allow me. In Panama City, Florida, would you expect there to be a kitchen incubator, Your Pro Kitchen? Like,
Yeah, no.
you would never thought there'd be a
There's a lot of
commercial
things.
kitchen that you could rent. Like,
There's
so
a
if
lot
you,
of things here that I'm just like, what?
yeah. So if you take a step back and look at like everything that kind of lined up for us to create what we created, like you're like, oh wow, you know, things did work out.
Yes.
And everyone will tell you. Even Aaron Singerman, who owns Redcon, part of the mentorship program is Rob interviewed him, and he said, you know, a little bit of luck is involved.
Yeah.
If anyone tells you there's no luck involved, then they're wrong, because there is a little bit of luck, whether it's timing, whether it's, you know, people saying yes to you. There's a little bit of luck involved when it comes to anyone's success. You know.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
But you got to put yourself out there to get the luck.
Correct.
Because the luck isn't just going to come to you.
Exactly.
So, but yeah.
I would say for me, maybe not this year, but next year, I think that we want to get like a place to ourselves.
Yeah. And you mean by not this year, not 2022, but 2023?
Yeah.
Like build your own place?
Oh, no, heck no.
Oh, buy your own place or
Yeah,
rent? Okay,
buy.
so
Yeah.
buy. Okay.
There was I'm not a big fan of renting, you know, like a house or something like that. There's no point.
Well, that's what I told you. When you rent a house, you pay a lot more money. And for you as a guy with a girlfriend, I know you'll have a dog, but in general, like you don't get that much more from a house if you're not like, don't have a family or you don't
Correct.
have like,
Or the need for the space. Like
yeah, garages.
why would we need a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom place? It's like,
Yeah.
we've thought about, and it makes sense to, you know, those townhomes by your parents' house.
Yeah.
Like that would be perfect.
Right. Yeah.
Mid 200s, like not too big and not too small.
Yeah.
And it's like, this place is only getting bigger too. So like a townhome like that, if this isn't like, that's our one reservation is like, is this our forever home? Like we don't know.
Well, I don't think a townhome would be your forever home. I don't think you ever.
Well, I'm saying this place. So like why?
Oh, Panama City.
Yeah. Why go and spend, you know, $350,000 on a house that we may not be here in, you know, 6 years.
Right.
In a townhome you can rent out like that.
Right. Yeah, I agree with
For
you.
military and stuff like that,
Yeah.
especially with the presence that's around here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, you technically could get into that whole like buy the whole townhome, rent out the other side situation.
If it's
you
a
were,
duplex.
Yeah, if you were into that kind of
Yeah.
situation, which are the
Or
ones
buying two.
Yeah, and aren't the ones buying my parents' house are a duplex, aren't they?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they're duplexes.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're duplex townhomes all the way across.
Oh.
So there's like two that share that wall, and then that's how
Okay.
they built a bunch of them like that.
But it's 220 for a single.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So you could buy the whole thing for $440, which would be, 40. If you did 10% down, that'd be $44,000, or if you
20
would be $88,000. But if you think about it, like if you could rent it out the other side for $2,200 a month, you should be able to almost cover your entire mortgage between both sides just from that rental income.
Yep.
Then you would really only be paying for your utilities and
Yes.
stuff out of your pocket.
both utilities, which is not
Not both. They would pay their utilities.
Okay,
When they rent
So,
it, they
yeah.
pay their utilities.
So we would pay our utilities, which would probably be what, $300 to $500 a month.
Yeah. So you have a townhome that you're paying $500 a month for, but you're going to own that townhome. So
You're gonna own the whole duplex.
right.
Yeah.
And so if you moved out, then you would be renting out
both
both sides. Right. And that's what a lot of people do. Is what they do is
Interesting.
You can, depending on the area, you can almost get enough to set it up that way.
Yeah.
Where you literally are breaking even, but you're living for free.
Correct.
So
I think we talked about that right when I kind of got here, and we talked about
the BRRRR
just
method
real
and
estate.
stuff. Oh yeah.
Just like the real estate option. And I know Tyler said that he's like, listen, if you're going to get into real estate, buy a duplex, live in one side, and have someone else pay for your side by living in the other.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to say on a $440,000 loan, you should be all in right around $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Maybe $2,200, but that's it.
Yeah.
So, if you're renting it out for $2,000 to $2,200, like they're covering the entire mortgage. So you're literally just paying $500 a month or whatever for your utilities. And then you have to worry if something breaks, you're going to have to fix it.
Yeah.
However, the first year of a new construction is under warranty.
Yeah.
So if the AC breaks, it's
under warranty. You give somebody a call and then they come out and fix it.
Exactly. Yeah. The only thing you may have to deal with is like, if they really pitched a fit and they're like, it's 100 degrees and we have to go stay in a hotel, then you may have to figure out the compensation on that. However, I would say most of the time.
Yeah, like a freak situation.
Yeah, that's a freak situation. Yeah.
Or like flooding and whatnot.
Well, yeah, you'd have to have insurance, all that stuff. But during the hurricane, like people that had properties that got damaged, people like had a choice, like, oh, you can move out now. You break your lease, and they wanted people to move out because then they would re-rent the property they'd get it fixed even higher because insurance money was paying for it. So, but yeah, you do have to worry about like hurricanes and stuff like that. But
that is a really smart idea. I knew about that, but I didn't think about it.
About what?
Buying. I didn't know that they were duplexes over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you're like, oh, maybe I want to buy a duplex. Yeah.
Because why not?
Yeah.
And then
if you can't cover the money, are you going to get a partner?
For my house?
Well, yeah, because like if you had someone go 50-50 on your duplex, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Then what? So like I'm going 50-50 with Tyler on the other building and the reason I look at it this way is like,
we could
think about this. Say you had $500,000 to invest. Okay. You can buy.
I wish.
But you can buy two houses for $250,000, or maybe you don't have 500, but you have enough to bring in $500 worth of property. You can buy two houses for $250,000, right?
Yeah.
By yourself, right? Or maybe you buy 4 properties now with your friends. And the reason that I like this method better is when the water heater goes out, the AC unit breaks, whatever, you are hedging your bet because now you have 4 properties. So if one of them gets taken out, you still got 75% of your income coming in. Okay. But if it's just you by yourself and you own 2 properties and one of them goes out, you're losing 50% of your income.
Okay.
So as long as your net properties is still the same as in the value of them. So, whether you're spending $1 million on homes with a partner or you're spending $1 million by yourself, you should yield more money going in with somebody if something were to go wrong.
Mm-hmm. And then you can always buy them out of their half.
You could, but at the end of the day, it just keep investing your money. Just keep going through. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's like I told Tyler and them. It's like, if we're buying this house together and we're going 50-50 on it, my investment is smaller. Yeah, my return's smaller, but my investment was smaller. So I could buy 2 of these now.
Correct.
So, it's kind of like I said, like hedging your bet.
Yeah.
It's like, ordering one steak dinner at a restaurant or both of you ordering a steak dinner and cutting the steaks in half and sharing them. And then now all of a sudden, if one steak's a little bit overcooked and the other one's not, like you have a chance of.
Or it's like when we went and did those YouTube videos at the restaurant. It's like we all could have got a meal, but we just ordered one thing for us all to share.
Yeah. So like I said, I think it's almost like hedging your bet. So I like that method better if you have people you trust.
Yeah.
So, and there's a situation of like, hey bro, we need, something went wrong and we need to go fix it. Now you have 2 people coming to try to fix a problem.
2 brains instead of 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I'm always a big fan of collaboration on those kind of things. Yeah. You can definitely run into some issues, but yeah.
I almost died.
Yeah. Did you just swallow your spit wrong?
Yeah, I always choke on my spit once a day.
Oh, that's whatever. But anyways, I feel like I got on a tangent on the real estate, but
I definitely would go in with somebody just because I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to housing stuff, fixing stuff. I know we talked about it, like using the drill. That was the first time I think I've used a drill.
Yeah.
Was this year because my dad, we just didn't do that at our house.
Right. Yeah.
My uncle would come over and do it for us. So.
Yeah, if you don't have to do it, then
exactly,
it doesn't matter.
He was never like, hold the flashlight still. We got, like you said with your dad.
Yeah, it's just a different world.
It is.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's my little spiel on real estate. If you and Gabby and Wade move out, we'll have to find new tenants over there.
I know.
Yeah.
Are you gonna? Would you let somebody live there?
Like random?
Yeah.
Like
I guess because like that has to be a big trust thing too. Like,
not really though, because there's not much they can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, yeah, they could, I guess, like flood it out and like somehow go through the ceiling, but that's why we have insurance on those kind of situations.
Yeah,
so.
I just meant like for like personal space and stuff. Like I would say we're pretty decent with like being neighbors and being like
not being loud and stuff like that. Yeah. I think that if
y'all
y'all
had another family that lived in there with a baby, like whining and crying all the time, I think you guys would be like, I don't know about this.
Right, but the beauty of it is that we can pick and choose who we want
That's
there.
true.
And also, like, if we decide not to do it, we could not do it. We could Airbnb it also.
That's true.
And then I think the only thing I would want to do is I can't hear anything through the office wall. I know y'all can hear me sometimes, but I can't. All I can hear is this side. So I think I would want to add something to this wall to try to soundproof it a little bit more.
Okay.
Which may be...
You could even bring that wall out a little bit because I know in that corner there's like 2 or 3 inches.
Right. Yeah.
Just straight soundproof.
Well, I would just put the foam all over that wall and then add a whole nother layer of sheetrock and stuff on there, which in my mind, that's probably like $2,000 worth to do. So it's not that expensive. And you would add a lot of soundproofing to that wall. Cause that's that's really the only issue. That's the only time we hear you guys. Like, because
and if we're playing music or like if we're all in the living room, like hooting and hollering, it's
mainly because y'all sometimes put the music player on the cabinets, like near the cabinets, and that's like right next to us.
Yeah.
And so that's the only time we hear it. Like, and that when y'all are like talking really loud, but in general, like I don't hear y'all when you're in the living room. I hear you when you're in your kitchen, that little bit of different distance. So I think it's actually an easy fix. Also, I mean, if y'all don't have like tile backsplash up there. So if we added some kind of like backsplash to your side, I think it would also
to
do
refract the sound.
Yeah, I think it would do a difference. We hear the cabinet shutting and stuff too. Yeah. So in general, it's just because they're all hung on the same studs. So I think sound isolation panels on that one wall would make a huge difference, and that would be pretty easy to do. Honestly, you could make that into you could put the sound panels down and then do some kind of like design with wood on the wall to like make it a feature wall over there. So I like I said, I think there's plenty you could do to like cut down on the noise going between there. So not really too terribly worried about that. You could do like faux brick. I don't know. Yeah. You could do all kinds of stuff. So, but I don't know. I mean, we would probably want to rent it out, or we would use it for like what we talked about before, which was having people come,
for like influencers and stuff like that.
Yeah, like have a place for people to stay,
which is nice.
Yeah,
which would be really nice.
Yeah, it would. So, just another option out there. And then finally, I own the land across the street.
I was just going to ask you about that.
2022, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with it.
Okay.
Originally, like I said, it was going to be like a warehouse space for Motive, maybe a gym, studio, podcast studio, like all that stuff. But the more I like think about it, like I have goals for personally that I need to take care of and not put things in front of my goals. So may build duplexes over there like we had talked about, and do some short-term rentals and long-term rentals, and then just see which ones are easier to handle. Maybe it's easier to rent them out for a year. Maybe not.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
Yeah. So that's kind of the plan on that. So I'll probably have to work on that during 2022. I won't be able to break ground on any of that. I may be able to get it like mitigated and get the plans and like start working towards it.
But nothing clear.
Nothing clear on that. And I think that it's a nice place to live. I mean, obviously it's quiet back here.
Located. Yeah,
and it's quiet back here because there's not a lot of people coming in and out. No. So Aubrey was worried. She's like, "You really want to add duplexes back here because it's so quiet and secluded back here?" But I was like, "I'm not really."
Well, if you added, it would be a difference if it was like adding 20. But how many would you put over there? Like
12, okay. six duplexes.
6
yeah. So.
Yeah, so that's fine. It's not like you're doing an entire complex.
No, and I think I could create it so that we put duplexes on this end and duplexes on this end, or like create it so it would actually block noise that we hear.
You could turn them all away and point them the opposite way of the building.
Right. So their backyard was towards us.
Yeah,
and so,
exactly.
And then I could also put in between us like trees or something so it's like blocking it off. But yeah, I think that honestly, I would probably create them so that they're on the far end pointed towards us, and then that's the best bet. Then they're as far away as possible. They're a block of noise coming from Jinx Avenue, because sometimes I hear
cars.
The train.
Oh, the train, yeah.
You hear the train?
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know where
all
it is, but it has to be over there.
It's on 15th.
Yeah.
It comes from 15th Street.
That's so loud.
I know.
So anyways, so that's my another New Year's resolution, is figure out what I'm doing with the land. So... Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, reading more, kind of like what you said about habits, business wise, getting some new clients in there. And then personally, I haven't really thought about it much, but I want to go to Houston and get rebaptized at Hope City.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
awesome.
goal for this year.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
yeah, Selena and I, we talked about it, and like when you're a kid, you really don't know what is going on. You do it
Right.
so early.
Well,
and
it depends on what denomination. So when I
Catholic for me.
Yeah, so
like
you're christened or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, so like I didn't
Fresh
get
out the
baptized
womb.
until I was like 9 or 10. I did
Okay.
know what I was doing. However, I will say that like even at 9 or 10, I think that you really struggle with it because you're just like, I don't want to go to hell. Like hell sounds terrible, you know? Like I want to go to heaven.
Yeah.
And you know, and so like they're like, all you got to do is ask Jesus into your heart. So I'm not saying that you fully understand what you're doing. However, it's not like you're a baby that has no idea what's
Correct.
going on. So
because I was there for my sisters when she was young, and I remember it, and I was like, I don't even remember mine.
Yeah.
So it's like the significance, I guess, behind it.
yeah, I think, you know, do you know what baptism, what it like symbolizes, right?
Yeah, it means like you're giving your life to Christ.
Well, it's like
you're
death in your
surrendering it.
death in your
Yeah.
old life and resurrection in your new life. So what I tell people is like, if you get baptized as a baby, like,
What life did you
yeah,
just
well, yeah,
give up?
yeah, what, yeah, what have you done?
Yeah.
You know, like, can you even have a bad thought? You know, you're a
Yeah.
baby. You know, so, but yeah, so you know, and Jesus got baptized later in life too. Like he didn't get baptized whenever he was a child. So
Yeah.
I think I view baptism in the Catholic Church at a young age as more like parents.
It's kind of just like a traditional thing.
Well, I view it as more like parents saying, I want to raise my child in the favor of God. Like I
Correct.
want to raise my child in a godly home, in a loving home. So that's why I feel like it still needs to occur like later on when the person themselves makes a decision.
Makes that decision.
Because just because you baptize them as a child and you're like, I want to raise them in a God loving home doesn't mean they're going to become God loving people,
Yeah.
you know? So, but yeah, so that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have a date you want to do or you just like in general
just
want
at
to do
some
it?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do it like a huge one during Easter, which
I
is
know.
like wild. So
They do it on the 1st and 3rd Sunday of every month, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But like I don't really I'm trying to think of a word. Like I don't recognize with a church here.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
that? Whatever that word is.
Well, yeah, you just haven't found a place that
Associate.
you found like a home here.
Yeah,
Like,
and
because Aubrey and I went to a couple of ones. We went Lighthouse and we never went to City Church. And really the main reason we didn't go is because like I felt like that was Gabby's thing.
Okay.
And I didn't want to like impose on Gabby's thing. Because like we were all like, Aubrey was trying to find her place here. Gabby was trying to find her place here when we all moved, and we kind of were, you know, we were living together. So
Yeah.
we were always on top of each other. So the last thing I wanted to do was like show up at church
spend
on
another
Sunday.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and it really, Gabby never told us we had to do that, and she probably wouldn't care at all. But we did have a thing like I didn't want to intrude on like something that she had found, and then
For
like
herself
yeah,
almost,
and then she like feel like she didn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
So.
I might try to go to John and Christine's church and see, because they do worship there. They're like the worship leaders there.
What church is that?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
They said it's in the hood though.
Oh, really? Well, I think
Air
that
quotations.
City Church, or what, isn't that where they go? City Church, or
I don't know where Gabby and Wade go.
yeah, I think that their church is a good one as
Yeah.
well. But it's just hard. I really loved Hope City, and you know I
Yeah.
know some people don't like Jeremy Foster, but I do like his storytelling because for me it helps hit home a lot more with what he's saying. You know, and some people love just to be right out of the Bible and to get the more of like the backstory on things, like why things mean the way they do. You know, like when I was growing up, the church, like I don't remember if you were talking about the woman at the well, like my church, they used to give like the whole backstory, and he'd be like, well, in Hebrew, this word was used, which means this, you know?
Yeah.
And so like, I appreciate those things, and I think that it's really cool to like understand that, but I prefer the more of the application of the story. Like, what does this story mean to you? And like, how does it apply to your life?
Yeah, I think it's a lot like learning. It's like a lot of people learn differently, and a lot of people hear and process things differently. So of course, every person is going to have their own thing to say about how someone preaches,
Right, yeah,
all
yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah,
So,
it's like certain teachers like are very visual. Some are, you know,
Yeah.
or students are very visual learners. Some need to like do it themselves. Some people
Exactly.
need to hear it. Some people need to read it.
some people need to do it 20 times to remember it,
Yeah.
or, you know.
So, but yeah, so I think that that's why we just keep gravitating back to Hope City so much. But I think that was still on the wrong thing because I didn't hit done.
Oh, oops.
Anyway,
Doesn't matter.
um,
Do you have a would you rather, or do you want to?
one last thing.
Okay.
How do you go about implementing your You know, like we can sit down here and I can be like, okay, my goal is like $3 million of properties. My goal is to assess these habits. So like, how do you go about like actually doing that? Do you set a deadline? Do you try to do it before the new year? Is it like January is my month to figure it out? Like, how do you personally go about like like setting resolutions and like implementing the path to get there?
Yeah. So I think like a good example of that is like gaining clients and stuff. So like that is the big goal. And then under that is like the umbrella. And it's like, you know, you kind of have to advertise yourself. You have to get out of your comfort zone, and you have to like, maybe one weekend, if I'm sitting on my couch, I need to get up and I need to go door to door business downtown Panama City. Like I need to do whatever needs to be done to, you know, if I get one person, it was worth it.
Yeah, so my mentorship inside of me wants to like help you with this. I want to be like, okay, what you should do is create like 3 different types of ads. Maybe, and because you like don't really care, like maybe you need to reach out to a real estate person and be like, hey, I'd love to do a real estate video for free. For my portfolio, and you can have it and use it. And I would love your feedback on what you did and didn't like about this video. Then I would go to a restaurant and be like, hey, I'd love to do a video for free on something on your menu or whatever it is, because I want to provide it to you for free. And I want your feedback in return for the video. Like you have to give me feedback. You know, it's part of our agreement. I'd literally make a contract that says the video will be free, but you must submit this document.
Like,
maybe make a
300 word.
Maybe make a feedback form. This feedback form has to be filled out, you know, or else you will be charged $500 or something. I mean, I would do that because otherwise people are just not going to do it. And then, so like I would do like, you know, food, maybe do one for that. And then maybe do one for, you know, another business, maybe jewelry or something like that. Clothes, I don't know, whatever it is. So you have like kind of 3 portfolios that you've created, and then you have your feedback. So you can either go back and fix the things that people didn't like about them, or you can just leave them how they are if you felt like the feedback was just very niche towards that person's likes and desires. And then you've built a portfolio. Then I would hand out my business cards to people and put on your business card, like, you know, email me for portfolio, or even have a QR code set up on a website that brings up your portfolio or whatever
or like
it is.
To like the Facebook page where
And just have those videos. And then that way what you've done is you've practiced with 3 different types of genres, and 2, now people can go look and they're like, oh, I know what this person can create, especially with the prices that videographers cost. Not saying they're not worth it, but a lot of people get scared, like, am I going to get what I deserve or what I paid for or whatever it is, you know? And it manages expectations on their part. If some people think that they're going to get a certain type of video, but that's not the type of videographer you were, which I know you saw that in the text that I sent, is the girl asked, hey, does anyone know a videographer? And I was like, well, what kind of videographer do you want? Because it's like a doctor. They have specialties, right?
Correct.
There's videographers that are really great doing cinematic stuff. There's videographers that are really great with fitness stuff. There's videographers that are really great with food stuff. You know, like everyone kind of has a niche market that they kind of work in. So just because you're a videographer, like if you do really great fitness content, you may do horrible wedding content. Exactly. Not saying that anyone does, but like it may be a hard transition. So that's just my 2 different realms. Yeah. And that's just my 2 cents on that. And then I would also become a member of the Bay County Chamber of Commerce because it's not expensive. I would go to the meetings and I would start handing out my business cards because you're going to run into a bunch of local business owners that could use the video content. And then, you know, you have people like me and Aubrey that go, oh yeah, you know, Austin won't quit until you're happy. Like he works really hard, like blah, 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 blah. So that's just my mentorship into how I would run your business.
Brad's mentor program.
Yeah. Maybe garbage. You'd be like,
determining your worth.
Mentorship. Yeah. But yeah, that's my little spiel on that. So, well, I'll look up a would you rather. See, but you got to keep everyone. Okay. You got to keep everyone occupied while I look at them.
Yeah. So, and then with like personal goals and stuff, I would say it's just having someone else there to keep you accountable, because, you know, it's hard to do your goals alone, and it's easier if you have like a person to hold you accountable. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So that's why we like to do ours on YouTube, because it's kind of like everyone holds us accountable. But I think this year, I'm going to see if you'll hold me accountable.
Okay.
Just like, because like sometimes it's easy to be like lie to yourself and be like, I'm doing better than I am. Or like, you know, that news resolution was just kind of like a throwaway. Like it didn't really mean anything.
It doesn't even matter. It was the last on the list.
Everyone knows that it does mean something to you.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if it hits your goal sheet, it matters to you. Like, don't lie to yourself, you know.
Ooh, wow. Some of these are really hard.
Let's rock and roll.
Okay, I'm going to do a couple because they're really good. lose all the money you've earned this year or lose all the memories you've gained this year? I think that's really applicable to.
I'm a big believer in that money comes and goes, but time only goes. So memory, I'm going to choose losing money.
Yeah.
I could give two shits about money.
Okay. I will tell you this year, I would say lose all the money and keep the memories. However, last year, I would have said the opposite.
Yes. No, I agree.
Wholeheartedly.
2020. Yeah.
I had to keep the money in 2020.
Yeah.
I built this building. I had to keep the money. Okay. Oh, these are very interesting. Flip a coin for a chance to win $20 or immediately win $10.
Immediately $10.
Like either I hand you $10 or we flip a coin and you either get nothing or $20.
$10.
You take the $10?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Really, I'm surprised. I feel like you're a gambling man.
No.
I would take the $10
I'm a
too.
practical, like if you're going to give me $10 for no reason, thank you.
Okay. Win $25,000 or have your best friend win $100,000. And there's no coordinating because like obviously you'd be like, hey bro, you're gonna win 100 and we're gonna split it 50-50.
I don't know. That's tough because I feel like everybody with money, no matter what and how much they earn, they take care of themselves first. Like no one just wins $100,000 and they're like,
you're my best friend. Here's 25,000. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to take care of themselves first. And maybe it's like 5,000 or whatever, which is still
Well, my question is,
grateful.
okay, off the top of your head, who's your best friend?
Probably see, that's tough. I have a lot of people that
If you had
I
to
call
just
my
pick
best friend.
one right now, like, and I'm not going to hold you to this. And this person probably is not even going to watch this podcast, which if they're your best friend, that's
They
fucked
should.
up.
I
Yeah.
know, yeah.
So,
Probably, can I pick two? It's probably there's three.
okay.
It's Zach, Taylor's boyfriend.
Yeah. Ricky,
and then my friend William, who you did podcast with.
Okay.
Those three.
Yeah. So my question is, would $100,000 change any of their lives drastically?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying it as like.
Well, so Aubrey's my best friend, so I hope she wins $100,000. No, I'm just kidding.
Because for me,
I'm gonna be honest. I would take the 25,000 myself.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of it as my situation, not like my situation, but me. It's like if I won $100,000, it's like, are you just going to give that to your best friend?
No, and you have three of them, right? So like you're not
Exactly.
going to sit here and give 25,000 to each of them, and then you walk away with 25,000.
Yeah. So I would take the 25.
Yeah, I think that kind of brings it up. I'll just finish this up. Another New Year's resolution. This one may sound really bad, but it's to start taking more care of myself over other people.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that don't know me, they may not understand that, and you maybe still don't understand it. But Aubrey and I put a lot of my anxiety comes from the fact that I'm scared to upset other people or to hurt other people's feelings, and a lot of times I let things just kind of keep happening to me instead of like almost like creating boundaries, Yeah. And so like I talked to Aubrey about it, and I have to start. Not that I have to be mean about it, but I need to like set boundaries and like put my foot down sometimes. And if they are mad at me or they don't like it, then that's okay. But I need to start taking care of myself first. So that's like a really big one for me. And it's hard to say because speaking of Tyler and Emily, it's hard to say because it sounds so bad in my mind, just because it sounds selfish, but it's not selfish. It's self-preservation.
Correct.
I'm not trying to be selfish. I'm trying to preserve myself.
Correct.
And I'm not like saying I'm going to do anything out of animosity. I'm not going to like go around trying to hurt people's feelings. However, if it comes down to my happiness versus someone else's happiness, like I'm going to start choosing my happiness.
Yeah.
So,
and then that also depends on the person that, you're talking with, or, you're putting yourself.
Well, I guess mine is in a work
like,
environment. Is what I meant it by in a work environment. I need to, like a lot of times I'll let things like keep happening that bother me because I don't want to hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah.
And I really need to just be like, stop doing this.
And then the littlest thing that day, not even related to that, will make you implode and like.
Yeah. And then they're like, wow, Brad's such a dick.
Yeah.
And Brad's not a dick. He's just.
You just hold everything in. And,
yeah. So.
And we've talked about that. Both of us are kind of in the work environment like that. Like we just need to communicate more and
Yeah, it just really comes from that people, they a lot of times think that I don't care about people's feelings, but the problem is I care so much about everyone's feelings that I just let my feelings like go by the wayside.
Yeah, like literally fly out the window.
Yeah.
Like,
And so, but anyways, that's something I do better on. So
that's a really good one.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's a healthy one. It's
Yeah.
probably like the most healthy one you can have. So, but no, I really enjoyed this podcast. This is a good one.
Yeah.
I liked talking through, hopefully people learn something on this, but I really like talking through just like my thought process on things. Plus, maybe one day people will give a poll. But I think the poll for this one should be, do you do New Year's resolutions at all? Because I think a lot of people don't do them anymore.
Yeah.
So can you do a why or why not? Can people write, or is it just like a yes or no?
You can do a response, I think. You can do a written response one.
Yeah. I was just curious, like if you didn't do New Year's resolutions, why you don't do them or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah.
Awesome. That was what? Episode 9 or 10? I think it's 10.
I don't know. You know better than us.
I think it was 10. But
all right. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the B.A. podcast today. Hope you have a wonderful day. You're worth it.
peace out, guys.